Welcome to the podcast about venture capital, where investors and founders alike can learn how VCs make decisions and reach conviction. Your host is Nick Moran, and this is The Full Ratchet.
Welcome back to TFR for a special installment of Investor Stories. In this segment, the investors tell a story about some of the most odd and unusual situations they've ever encountered as investors. This is the segment called The Strange and Unusual. On today's special segment, we have Yanev Suissa of SineWave. Yanev, what's the strangest, most unusual, or most memorable startup pitch you've received?
That's a tough one. When I was in the public sector, we looked at a startup that was putting solar panels on dog houses, which was an interesting thing to kind of look at. But there are lots. And what do I call them? Please go back to McKinsey companies. But we all have our opinions. I mean, I thought Twitter, this like bringing things down to 20 characters, this is going to be nothing. What's the point of this? I don't get it. It's the end of our democracy. Meanwhile, it transformed governments in the Middle East. So, we all have our opinions. We all make mistakes. And as long as you got passion for something, go at it. You can figure it out.
On today's special segment, we have Ruth Foxe Blader of Anthemis. Ruth, what's the strangest, most unusual, or most memorable startup pitch you've received?
So I had the weird Zoom experience of a guy being accidentally upside down on Zoom. And so literally he was like, I just can't figure this out. I don't know why I'm upside down. And then proceeded to do the pitch. I was like, surely this gentleman is going to turn his camera off because this is totally insane. And it was actually like the hardest pitch I've ever sat through because I was dying of hysterical laughter on the inside, but also trying not to be disrespectful because, of course, he's telling me about his life's work. But yeah, upside down Zoom guy was the most absolutely insane startup pitch and very memorable.
On today's special segment, we have Parker Barrile of Norwest Venture Partners. Parker, what's the strangest, most unusual, or most memorable startup pitch you've received?
Yeah, I think probably the first meeting I had with Dave, the fintech app, where I'm an investor, actually. It was strange in a good way. Dave is this incredibly successful company. It's about to go public here. And I'd heard a lot about Dave. This was a couple of years ago. I'd heard a lot about it. They are an app that gives people cash advances as a way to avoid overdrafts out of their checking account. And so it's very much a painkiller product. It's very cool. It's been very successful. And I'd heard about it and I was intrigued by it, but it was based in LA. And so I spent time going back and forth with the founder, and we finally agreed to get together. And so I flew down to LA, the address, the company's headquarters, and had it mapped, took an Uber there. And I pull up and I'm in this sort of rundown, nondescript neighborhood in, the Wilshire neighborhood in LA. There aren't any office buildings. There's no signage. There's basically like a junkyard next door to this nondescript building with a number on it. And I just couldn't imagine that I was at the headquarters of a successful startup. So I thought, well, I might as well knock. So you knock on this door and wait at this nondescript door. And finally, someone came to the door, acted surprised to see me. I go into this, sort of low slung building that they'd converted into a startup. They sat me down in the conference room. The conference room had deer antlers on the wall and a fireplace, like an old fashioned fireplace. I felt like I'd gone down the rabbit hole. This was nothing like, any other startup I'd visited. And then, I ended up meeting with the founder, Jason Wilk, and right off the bat, we hit it off and he shared with me what was going on at the company. And it was just the most incredible story. I mean, they were growing like crazy. The product was cool. The brand really resonated with me and with their user base. App reviews were strong. So right away, I got excited and wanted to invest. But it just, don't judge a book by its cover, I guess, is the story. I just never expected a company like that to be built, in some random building in the middle of nowhere in LA. So there you go.
It's so fun. It's so fun that the first time founder meetings that you'll never forget, circumstances, environment, or just the people themselves.
Yeah.
That will conclude this installment of Investor Stories. If you're enjoying the program and would like to see it continue, take a moment and leave a 5-star review in iTunes. Also, if you'd like updates on new content from TFR, go to fullratchet.net and sign up for the newsletter. Okay, that will wrap things up for today. Until next time, over-prepare, choose carefully, and invest confidently. Thanks for joining me.